Welcome in. 9-game NBA slate tonight here that we're going over on WinDailySports.com. This is all sponsored by the Sharp app, by the way. Go to sharp.link. All the ways you can download the Sharp app, Google Play Store, Apple App Store. And I'm sure you can probably find some NBA bets for tonight on there as well. But we're not going over bets. We're going over some DFS plays for tonight. Lineup builds, any questions that you have. Even though Ghost is probably just going to say the model. Go to the model, WinDailySports.com. You can sign up, and you can actually just use the model, too, for some of these plays. But, Ghost, how you doing? Joining me today is Ghost at DFS_Ghost is where you can follow him. My name is Jon Jansen at JJansen34. How are you feeling about tonight, Ghost? How we doing? How we doing?
I love this slate. I'm so
Do you
locked
really?
in. I'm
Nice.
so locked in. Yeah, it's like I basically have. I ended up with way more lineups than I would thought, but they're basically one player different every single one of the 10 of them. I'm that locked in on my core, so there's no there's no going back at this
Did
point.
it change anything? Do you like it more because Paul George is out, or what happened when that changed? Because he was scheduled off for rest today, and we heard that earlier in the day. So when you saw Paul George out, what did that kind of change, if anything? To be honest,
Everybody was already playing Reggie Jackson, which I didn't get. Especially like Paul George was not ruled out till like midday, and I love to see Reggie Jackson chalk when Paul George is in because he would have flopped. And now that is justified. So that told me a little bit that the opto guys, I'll be nice and call them opto guys, would have gotten away with one there. If Paul George is in this game, there's no way Reggie Jackson would have hit his ceiling at 6K. But now that he's out, certainly makes him in play. You need at least one Clipper tonight. So I have one of Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, or Terrence Mann in every single one of my lineups.
So is that it? Is that the extent that you're going for with that, or is there any way we can go a little bit deeper?
I'm not overthinking this one. Everyone's gonna get obviously everyone gets more touches, right? Like Paul George takes 20 plus shots a game, has one of the highest usage rates in the entire league. Like everyone knows the Clippers are Paul George, and Paul George is the Clippers, right now, because Kawhi Leonard's likely out till playoffs, if they even make it there at this point, the way that they're looking. So there are so many touches to go around on offense. Marcus Morris drawing back into the lineup is huge for them. They're definitely going to need him scoring a ton. And he's also likely to play a bit of the 5 also with if they end up going smaller with Mann, Bledsoe, and Reggie Jackson on the court at the same time, which they can do against Sacramento. So I know guys like Zubac and Hartenstein and Ibaka, et cetera, are all going to, see their production go up. But again, you do have to realize that at any point in time, Ty Lue, who has been making adjustments seemingly every 30 seconds of the game, I think he heard me last playoffs when I was essentially screaming in the mic. Like, it wasn't at you, but you were on with me. I apologize for that, for hearing my vent. But
it's okay.
I was basically begging him.
It was earned. It was very
Kawhi.
earned.
Yeah. He was not playing Kawhi or Paul George on Luka. He was switching Ibaka Zubac onto Luka Doncic. Like it was 4 games into the series. They were getting wiped off the court. And then game 5, he was like, oh, okay, I got to put one of my 2, all NBA defenders on Luka Doncic. Like, ever since then, he's been the king of making adjustments because he finally decided to start coaching, apparently. So, like, it would not surprise me in the least that if something goes wrong for 4 to 5 minutes, he's going to take one of these guys off the court, right? So, a lot of them are interchangeable. That being said, Marcus Morris and Reggie Jackson are the 2 safest. Terrence Mann is right up there as well. You're going to see Eric Bledsoe a ton tonight. You're going to see Luke Kennard tonight. You're going to see Zub, Hartenstein, Ibaka. Like that. That's really about it, right? So, because of the fact that a lot of those guys are big men, it's not going to be Zub for Ibaka or Zub for Hartenstein 1-for-1 subs sometimes. Like, it will not surprise me in the least to see a closing lineup of Bledsoe, Jackson, Mann, Marcus Morris, and then the fifth, it is a true X factor, right? So that's where it's you could end up it could end up being Luke Kennard if he's shooting hot. It could be one of Serge Ibaka, Hartenstein, or Zubac. We really don't know, right? So I'm not really diving into those kind of plays, especially the fact that a lot of my lineups have 2 centers in them. So I can't play a guy like Zubac or a guy like Hartenstein, but even Serge Ibaka, for me, it's going to be a hard pass. I'm limiting it just to Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, and Terrence Mann. I'm only playing one. You can play 2 Clippers. That's the way that I'm getting different, is that I'm only playing one, because you definitely need at least one, right? Like, not all chalk is bad chalk. Most of it is. But in this case, when someone as substantial as Paul George comes off the court, you need at least one. That's the way that I'm getting different, is that I'm only playing one.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And just looking here at the top, though, I mean, we have some pretty tasty matchups. Is that the best way to put it? These are some tasty matchups at the top. But which one of these guys? Like, because I think Giannis against Charlotte is a good matchup. I think Jokic against Orlando, Luka against New Orleans. Obviously, what you worry there is a little bit of like blowout territory. But these guys are in really good matchups. Which guys at the top do you like? And are we going with the 11K guys and possibly the 12K guy in Giannis?
Every single one of my lineups tonight, which is a lot, have both Jokic and Giannis in them. Every single one of them.
Both?
Yeah.
Wait. Not one or the other.
No.
Both.
Yeah.
And what is that? Who were they again?
I think I'm
Giannis?
I'm up to 20. Yeah, and Joker. Yeah.
Wow. So there's some value on this slate then. Is what you're telling me.
There's so much value. I actually have Reggie Jackson or Kevin Porter Jr. as well. So if I'm not playing Reggie Jackson, I'm playing Kevin Porter Jr.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a 6 to 7K guy with both of those guys.
Well, yeah, and I guess that answers, or I guess kind of takes us to our next question here then. If that's what we're going to play, is where's the value at? Where are you finding some value plays?
So there's a ton of individual plays. So what we'll do is we'll scroll down to the 4.5K range, and I'll kind of just go over them because they are going to be in a ton of different games. So I can't just really look at one. But
I love this. This sounds spicy, by the way. Okay.
I'm essentially giving you guys my player pool right now. So this is what I was talking about in Discord earlier, where it's like it's up to you guys, right? Like you have to be you're going to give them the player pool,
and they just you can pick whatever from it.
You have to be confident and happy with the lineup that you submit. Like and I keep saying it's because it is your guys' account, right? So like it's not just because I say you have to play this. If you don't like them, you don't like them, and if you like someone that I'm not on, that's okay. Also, just so we talked about the Clippers situation with Morris and Kennard and all these other guys at 4.4, 4.5K. Kevin Huerter is somebody that I really like tonight. And that was before Cam Reddish got ruled out. And now that Cam Reddish got ruled out, I'll just replace Cam Reddish with Danilo Gallinari because the Atlanta Hawks are essentially down to 6 guys tonight.
Nice.
Like with Bogdan Bogdanovic out for 2 weeks and DeAndre Hunter still out, they basically have 6 bodies here. So I really do like Kevin Huerter a ton. I liked Reddish a ton. A lot. I had a lot of Cam Reddish, and I'm going to swap that out, obviously, because Cam Reddish just got ruled out. So that definitely changes things for me more than most people. But Kevin Huerter definitely shoots up my rankings. We also have on the lower end, like I maybe have like 1 or 2 lineups with this guy, but Garrison Matthews is seeing a ton of run for the Houston Rockets right now with Jalen Green still being absent as well at 4.3K. Then you have guys like I mentioned, Gallinari. Maxi Kleba is still in play at 4.3, is still too cheap. But again, with the amount of other plays that we have, I have maybe one lineup with Maxi Kleba just because I keep going to another power forward at 3,800 in Medu with both Harrison Barnes and Marvin Bagley out for the Sacramento Kings. I have a ton of Medu everywhere tonight. Also, on the Indiana side with Justin Holiday out again, these are not substantial injuries, but it shifts the rotations a ton, right? So Chris Duarte is someone that I like a lot tonight as well at 4K. Is he going to blow the slate open? No, absolutely not. But when you look at what Justin Holiday brings to the Indiana Pacers, it's 3-and-D defense and it's shooting threes. It's exactly what Chris Duarte does. So with everybody playing Karis LeVert tonight, I will hedge off that a little bit because you do have to get different somehow. And Chris Duarte is going to be one of those guys for me. Again, am I expecting him to blow the socks off the slate? Absolutely not. But what he does do is that he shoots the ball a ton when he's out there, and he can play some pretty good defense against some of these Atlanta wings. So I do like Duarte there at 4K. Talked about Medu at 3.8. That's probably one of my most used forwards to pair with Giannis and Joker in my forward spot. That's there. Also playing a ton of one of my favorite players in this draft class. We actually mentioned him in our preview show. I was saying like it wasn't worthy to bet on him for Rookie of the Year because I knew the minutes weren't going to be there. But look out for Trey Mann in the second half of this season because Oklahoma City has absolutely nothing to play for other than trying to get that first overall pick. And they have nothing to lose but to try and develop the former Florida Gators. So one of the reasons why I took Florida in, even though they were the 7th seed in the first round of March Madness, that was actually an upset in their first round, and I was all over Florida. That was one of my highest unit bets for March Madness, was in the very first round, taking Florida in the very first game of the tournament, and then that's when I knew it was going to be a good tournament for us on the betting side. Trey Mann's a certified hooper, man, and this guy can absolutely ball out. No Josh Giddey tonight for the Oklahoma City Thunder, so that means that there will be a ton of minutes to be had for Trey Mann and a little bit to Ty Jerome, but it's going to be mostly Trey Mann being that first guy off the bench for them. Naz Reid certainly in play as well at 3,400. This is just a guy that the DraftKings and Fanduel refuse to boost his price. Fanduel a little bit more because he racks up blocks, and over there it's 3 points per block, whereas on DK it's only 2. But there's a guy where, yeah, you can get in foul trouble, but against Washington, he's lining up on Montrezl Harrell. He does not play. Like, Montrezl Harrell does not know how to defense. So
No.
getting Naz Reid with all of the injuries and still a few Q tags for this Minnesota front court with guys like Vanderbilt, Jalen McDaniels is already out. Like, they have so many injuries out there, although Anthony Edwards is playing, that didn't really affect Naz Reid as much. So that would be strictly a large field play for me, Naz Reid. And the other guy is very close to the stone cold minimum, and that's Dwayne Dedmon, $3,100 center for the Miami Heat. Likely to be one of, if not the highest rostered player on this slate is going to be Dwayne Dedmon. Like I said, it's not a sexy pick. I'm not going to sit here and talk about how good of a basketball player Dwayne Dedmon is. Bam Adebayo was out 4 to 6 weeks with an MCL injury. Thank goodness it's an MCL injury and not an ACL injury, because I have a ton of Miami Heat futures from the preseason on them winning the East and winning the title. So Dwayne Dedmon slotting in, starting, or at least likely starting for the Miami Heat. We don't have confirmation on that just yet, but even if he only gets 17 to 18 minutes, which is certainly possible, they are going to run PJ Tucker at the 5 and bring Tyler Hero off the bench and play him alongside Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and Duncan Robinson. Don't be surprised to see that happen. But even with 17 to 18 minutes, Dwayne Dedmon is in an absolute smash spot, only 3,100. It makes the guy's a stone cold minimum. He really can't hurt you there. Going up against Jared Allen, definitely a tough matchup. But again, the guy's $3,100. Like, I don't need him to put up 40 DK. I just need him to not put up a 0, because of the fact that it allows me to get Giannis, Jokic, and one of Kevin Porter Jr. or Reggie Jackson. That's essentially the majority of the guys. That's off the top of my head, so you could tell that those are the guys that I use the most. But there is so much value to be had on the slate. There's no reason.
So basically a good slate for the model. That's what you're telling me. It's a good slate for the model.
It has to be. If you look at essentially, like, don't quote me on this when I say it's the top 10, but if you look at essentially the top 10, nearly everyone is $4,500 and under. And when you plug in Jokic, Giannis, and Reggie Jackson or Kevin Porter Jr., you have roughly $4,500 left per position. So to be able to get all of these guys, I'm just going straight to the model, plug and play, mix and matching different guys, and being able to get my exposure there. Is there a path to failure? There's a path to failure with every lineup, right? If Jokic or Giannis, don't necessarily have the best games, then yeah, obviously I don't want a ton of 4K guys in my lineup. But that's the strategy that I'm taking tonight, is that there are 3 players on this league that could potentially drop 70 plus DraftKings points. It's Jokic, it's Giannis, and it's Luka, going up against that Swiss cheese of a Pelicans defense, especially against primary ball handlers. So the fact that Porzingis is in doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't hurt, doesn't help. Like, it's just meh for Luka, right? So the fact that I have the luxury to get Nikola Jokic against the Orlando Magic, who their tallest guy is like 5'3". Denver has like 3.5 guys active today. Like, they have maybe 3.5 guys active. Everyone's out with COVID. Everybody's out with COVID, or they're out with injuries. So Denver's going to run an extremely tight ship tonight to get 36 minutes of Nikola Jokic. I don't care who he's playing. You're getting 36 minutes of Nikola Jokic. Like, I really don't have to explain more than that. Charlotte just got absolutely destroyed by Nikola Vucevic, who was on his couch for the past 2 weeks. Absolutely demolished the Charlotte Hornets. Everybody that plays the Charlotte Hornets in the front court, you guys know this. If you've read any one of the articles, whether it's mine or Adam's, anytime somebody that is basically able to dribble a basketball, if they are playing at the 5 or the 4 in Charlotte Hornets, it's that simple. Put that into the fact that you now have a multi-MVP winner in Giannis Antetokounmpo, defending NBA champion. Like, and the guy is going to absolutely go nuts tonight. So to be able to get him in the lineups for me is an absolute no-brainer. If you're worried about Giannis, you're worried about Joker, there are still plenty of targets in the mid-range. I talked about Reggie Jackson, Kevin Porter Jr. You can go to someone like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as well, now that Josh Giddey is out. You could play Jared Allen now that he no longer has to face Bam Adebayo's defense. So I'm not saying that you absolutely have to employ this strategy. There are still plenty of targets that warrant consideration in the mid-range. You got a primary ball handler going up against the Houston Rockets in SGA with no Josh Giddey on the court now. But again, my exposure, like all of these situations that I'm talking about, I have exposure to it in just another fashion. I'm playing Trey Mann. I still have a primary ball handler, and I'm just not paying 8.3K for him. Right? So that's where you really have to decide, is the mid-range going to get you there tonight? That's completely up to you guys to make that decision. Just again, when people end up looking at stars and scrubs lineups, they end up saying, oh, well, I have so many value plays in my lineup. Like there could be snowflakes or there can be busts, etc. Giannis or Joker can have a bad game. Same could be said for mid-range guys. Because if all of your players are putting up 35 points, I can guarantee you're not cashing. So if everyone goes for 5x and you which is not bad, you get 5x, you got 5 times their price in production of points from your players, 250 Draftkings points will not cash tonight. So that's one thing where you also need ceiling games out of at least 6 to 8 of these guys. And that to me is riskier than pairing Giannis Antetokounmpo or Nikola Jokic with one of Dwayne Dedmon. If Dwayne Dedmon goes for 5x, that's 15. It doesn't matter as much. Because my strategy tonight is that I want Giannis or Joker or both to go for 70 plus. So that's where you end up making the large chunk of the difference. You want to play guys like Jared Allen, SGA. Who else did I talk about? Kevin Porter Jr., Reggie Jackson, etc. I'm playing both of those last 2 guys that I mentioned, in Kevin Porter Jr. and Reggie Jackson, because I could even fit them with Giannis and Joker. So to be able to do that, it's a no-brainer for me. It's not like I'm completely omitting every single one of these guys from my player pool. You can definitely get it done with Giannis and Joker in there. So it's up to you guys which route you want to take, but everything that's on the screen right now, that is 100% the route that I'm taking.
I love it. Let's go over at least one live line here from our guy Brian. Man, Duarte, Herder, ABC, Joker, Reggie Morris. So
that's perfect.
Nice. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that is perfect.
That gets the good. That's it. That. It doesn't. Nothing changes.
No, that's literally
well done.
Don't change that.
So also, Herbert Jones.
Never, Dallas. Even if there's a fire.
Oh, cool. Nice.
That's another mid-range guy.
No fire. Yeah, nice.
Jonas Valanciunas. If you want to play Jonas Valanciunas, I'm cool with that. That's where I would get exposure against the Dallas interior. You want to play Jonas Valanciunas, not Herbert Jones. But again, like there are plenty of good mid-range targets tonight. Just for me to be able to get one of Kevin Porter Jr. or Reggie Jackson with Giannis and Joker, to me, it's a no-brainer with the amount of value that we have on this slate. Atlanta's down to essentially 6 guys. Here you go. I'm about to make another lineup. This is plural, where I'm duplicating all of my Kevin Porter Jr. lineups, and I'm just playing Tyler Hero. And that is exactly what I wrote. So that is a sign that I have to play Tyler Hero, because I said Jimmy Butler will sit, and you are going to want to play Tyler Hero at $7,200. So that's exactly what I'm going to go do.
No, so I guess what would be the lineup build there? with Tyler Hero? Because I imagine it's
So
7,200 makes it a
we
little bit
can-
tougher to do the Giannis and Jokic lineup.
Yeah, we'll put that on the screen just because some people might not believe me when I say you can get Giannis, Joker, and Kevin Porter Jr. or Tyler Hero. They're essentially $200 different. So, we're going to play. I don't want to give it all away. We'll play Trey Mann. I don't want to give it all away. We'll play Trey Mann.
You're gonna give it all away, aren't you? You're a man of the people. That's all I know.
We're gonna take Tyler Hero out of the utility spot, and we're gonna play Dwayne Dedmon.
Boom.
And then we're going to play. We're not playing Reggie Jackson, so you need Morris. So you need Morris in there.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, Marcus Morris. So that again, like that. This is an example of my one Clipper rule, right? So
nice.
Because of the fact that you're playing
sense.
Tyler Hero.
Yeah.
If you're playing Tyler Hero or you're playing Kevin Porter Jr. in this example, you could name any other guy other than Reggie Jackson. If you are not playing Reggie Jackson, you need to have Marcus Morris or Terrence Mann in your lineup. Not Trey Mann. Trey Mann should already be in your lineup, but
right. But yes,
you need to have one.
the other man.
You have
Yeah,
4K left.
Yeah.
4K left. There's Herder, Duarte, Medu. Who else did I mention?
Wow, there really is.
There, Garrison Matthews. There's you can even play Campazzo if you want, because Denver they have like 3.5, 4 guys active tonight. If that's your last guy in, so be it. Naz Reid, guys, what's his name? RJ Hampton. RJ Hampton's in play too. Jalen Suggs is out for 2 weeks. Like Cole Anthony's back. He's not on a minutes limit. Don't expect the world from RJ Hampton. But again, he's the first guard off the bench. We've seen RJ Hampton in these spots, and he's outscored. He has outscored Jalen Suggs in this scenario every single time. Now, Cole Anthony will outscore RJ Hampton. Make no mistake about it. Cole Anthony is not Jalen Suggs. But it just goes to show how productive RJ Hampton is off the bench for the Orlando Magic. So you want to play RJ Hampton there at 3,600. He's in play also. We had Reddish. He's no longer in our player pool because he is out. There's so many guys to pick from now. Like it's not like you're putting in $2,000-$3,000 guys in there. Go look at 4,300 and you'll see exactly who to put. There's one guy that I've been talking about at 4,300.
Boom. No. Is it this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Boom. We have the winning lineup. We won.
You don't
win.
You don't like Garrison Matthews. It's fine. There's 6 different options at the same positions for all of these guys. Like it's not like they're all small forward. Like there's so many of them at every single position. So that's where it's like you can just interchange every single one of these guys and pick whichever one that you want. If you end up building a lineup and you're like, wow, this is way too risky for my liking. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stomach this for the next 3.5 hours during an NBA slate. Take out one of Giannis or Joker and go more mid-range. Take out one of Giannis or Joker, go to the Jonas Valanciunas, to the Jared Allens, Reggie Jackson with Kevin Porter Jr., something like that. What I'm telling you is that you'll still end up with 3 value plays in your lineup. So at that point, you might as well just go for it. Yeah. You can't really say that this lineup structure doesn't make you comfortable and that other one doesn't make you comfortable, because you're going to have, in some way, shape, or form, a trio of these players. So here, for example, I have 5. If you end up taking out Joker and you go with Jared Allen as an example, you can then come off of RJ Hampton and go to Reggie Jackson. That doesn't change the fact that you still have Trey Mann, Marcus Morris, and Dwayne Dedmon in the same lineup. So at that point, if you are still playing 3 value plays, that's where I am taking the risk to go to 5, and it allows me to capture 2 out of 3 players that can put up 70 plus DK on the slate. Right? So that's where you really have to decide which one you're more comfortable with. If you rather limit the amount of value plays that you want, that's okay also. That's a viable strategy tonight also. But again, it's by fading Nikola Jokic, who is essentially in a 6-man rotation tonight, and you're fading Giannis against the Charlotte Hornets, like that scares me just as much as having this many value guys.
Is Hero a lock?
On any day ending in Y. That I'm going to
I should have known the answer to that one.
I'm going to actually
This is interesting because just full blown
I
stars
don't
and
know.
scrubs
I,
here.
I don't know if I should be saying this because people are gonna take it way too literally, and then they're gonna go and do it, and then. But anyways, I'm not 100% telling you to do this, but the way
You
that
are.
I'm
I mean, you
getting
are.
different,
Right?
the way that I'm getting different is that I have more Clipper exposure in the form of non-Reggie Jackson players, and I am playing Tyler Hero and Kevin Porter Jr.
What about this
That's what I'm
lineup, by the
doing.
way?
Anyways, 3.3K util. You already have Dedmon in there. KPJ Hero. No, you can't play both. That's way too much. Wait, what's going on? You have APJ, Hero, Amir Coffee. Please don't play Amir Coffee. Giannis, Dedmon, Baby Ballsack, Reed, and then a util. You can't play KPJ and Hero together with Giannis and LaMelo Ball or Joe.
Right.
Gomez.
It's just now you're
can't-
going. Yeah.
That's too far.
'Cause you're
Like
going real
I capped it
scrubby.
at 3. Yeah, I capped it at 3. So like you still need. I mean, if you had 3.3K util, there is no one that I like there.
Yeah.
I would do. Please don't play Amir Coffee in 2021, 2022, and then like you'd have to come off LaMelo Ball, which I know you don't want to do, Brian. So that's the only reason why I say that it doesn't work for me.
Has Brian suggested a lineup to us ever without LaMelo Ball in there? I guess the last one, but that was more, I think, to please you. Oh no, that was still with Baby Ball. Okay.
This makes me nauseous. You guys know how I feel about Eric Bledsoe. This makes me really nauseous.
Does that mean it's time to end this?
I'll just say I'll be very nice because again, it's the holidays. I already have my Christmas tree up.
No.
I am playing a very extremely any way to describe that. Look up synonyms for extremely and very limited amount of Eric Bledsoe tonight.
So you have one lineup in.
Maybe out of like 26 or 27 at this point. I have to check, but I don't even think I might not.
So
even
you have one.
I don't even know if I have one. The main reason why is because he's arguably the same price as Terrence Mann, and again, that's how I'm getting different, right? So, if you want to play Eric Bledsoe, it's more of I just the productivity is very worrisome for Eric Bledsoe, especially with Reggie Jackson dominating the touches.
It's exactly what it means.
Putting my jokes aside about Eric Bledsoe there, so quoting Will Ferrell, saying never if there's even a fire there, but like the main reason why I don't like playing Eric Bledsoe is because he needs the ball in his hands, and when Reggie Jackson's on the court, you're not getting the ball in your hands. Like I don't know how else to explain that. Like picture it where you're right. Playing Reggie Jackson, you're playing a shoot first primary ball handler. Now that Paul George is out, he becomes that primary ball handler. You're playing a shoot first primary ball handler.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
With like that. That's why I don't want Terrence Mann starting. I want him subbing in when Reggie Jackson comes off the court, and there's a bit of overlap there, which is okay. But I want Terrence Mann spending the majority of his time with Reggie Jackson on the bench. That's because I want Terrence Mann with the ball in his hands, right? Whereas Eric Bledsoe is likely to be on the court the entire game with Reggie Jackson. So,
all right,
for me, it's one or the other.
Yeah,
I didn't say it.
Theo's gonna say it for you. Just don't do it. Don't go near it.
But
so I think that's where we're gonna end here because we have that mock lineup up for you that we have here. We give you a bunch of value plays. And you can all check it out on the model. That's where Ghost is getting a lot of these plays from. You can as well. WinDailySports.com. Sign up, and you can find out all the packages and figure out the right one for you to get that projection model and maybe throw in there the optimizer as well. Highly, highly recommend that one as well, too. So WinDailySports.com. Go over and sign up. And also go to the Academy tab, and you can go check out the Discord chats. That's where Ghost, Adam, and all the rest of the experts are going to be in the Discord expert chat. So go check that out as well. And also, this was all sponsored by the Sharp app. If you need some NBA bets for tonight, sharp.link, Google Play Store, Apple App Store, wherever you get your apps, you can go there and download the Sharp app. Ghost, that's it for us. Great stuff today. Good job. We have a mock lineup. That's it's usually when Ghost is really on a slate when the lineup is all there for you. And he gives out, and he's a nice guy. He gives out all the play too.
One guy I'll mention at 4K. Just looking at my lineup now there to be able to switch a couple things around. I'm essentially duplicating all of my Kevin Porter Jr. lineups, which is a lot, and just swapping out Porter Jr. for Hero, leaving the rest the exact same. Max Struss fits in nicely. I'll just say that at 4K.
Nice.
Small forward. So if you're not using Herder, it's another guy that I like at small forward, adding to the ridiculous long list of value plays that we have tonight. I don't mind Max Struss tonight.
Look at that. Another bonus play from Ghost. It was a special show today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow right here when Daily Sports.